hasn't been able to have the biggest impact thus far inside of the game. It's mostly on this Twisted Fate. Kind of just been like, for the most part, he's been a deteriorator, making sure that plays across the board aren't going to be coming in. Not an ideal situation for the likes of the Twisted Fate, as normally you want to be making much more aggressive plays. Hopefully, with Shady and Kind Jungle, two insanely powerful in this early game, combined with this Twisted Fate, they can start to make some earlier game moves, start to put some pressure on, especially with two dragons. This would be the time to try to do it on.
Love to see exactly what could possibly come forward here, but yet again the pressure being brought into the mid lane, just methodical. They go to bot, they bring everybody, they bring Shady from bot to mid, and Strumpus is constantly having to stay on his toes in this matchup.
He is. Neither mid laner are allowed to sit here. Neither mid laner are allowed to just like farm out this matchup as much as possible. Both of them want to get out and interact with the rest of the map, and both of them are not allowed to do exactly that. Just farm up until the point where they can get a push against the other, as both kind of teams want to make sure that their mid laner feels comfortable making interactions elsewhere inside of this multi-team kind of setup here. So good parts is, again, Maryville has drafted at least a little bit more scaling in this game, as their Jace and their Viego still need a little bit of time to actually get interaction.
Ooh, Destiny popped as well there. Gold card was put onto Cozy. Heal used. Trying to see what they can, but Bullfrog Bill takes a hit from that giant sword. The gold card comes through, but Cozy has had enough of that hits. He goes on a killing spree.
Right there, thinking they had the numbers advantage, but Tisam is around as well as the remainder of the top side of the map.
Yeah, they're looking to take Strumpus for a wild ride here. The Ignite is burning away, and Shady does find a kill at the end of the day, as it's just kill after kill traded back and forth.
It is mid laner for mid laner. When you've got four members up here for the side of SLU, they're able to make quite a bit happen. They're able to kind of force this advantage into the likes of Twisted Fate, went a little bit too far trying to get this pick off on Zaga, not expecting the number of members to be here ready to fight as they did. But then the response play, they walk up top lane to make sure Cozy Shroud's able to catch his wave. They go to Rift Herald, and in all of that kind of confusion, it was another response from the likes of Chippies and the remaining players here. They were able to get a kind of collapse into the likes of the LeBlanc, shut down this Strumpus carry as much as possible. So Cozy has been set up to do very good work inside of this game. Kind has been set up to do very good work inside of this game. One of the biggest things we're still tracking also is Misfortune still at that 30 CS kind of advantage, almost on 2 lethality items. That ultimate's something to track as well, because again, that's probably one of the best ways that Cozy Shroud loses a fair amount of his health when walking into a fight. Given that he's got a bunch of the early gold from the rest of his team, that's something you're going to have to keep your eye on.
Zaga's going to have to go ahead and make sure that pillar is standard. But, you know, you were talking about the bullet time being a threat. Let me introduce you to another threat. It's called Shady.
Called Set, and Shady Set is an even more threatening kind of way to say that champion's name, as you saw level 1 just kind of beating down as much as possible Tisam. Since then has been out and about a little bit, did die of course to Strumpus Rome, but put in some good damage and kind of forced him to trade in that one-on-one situation. The Set super good at interacting with the map early, insanely powerful champion just for base stats on its own, and able to accomplish a lot of the same things that something like the Leona we'd be able to do early. The best part about it is when you've got champions that like to run in and auto attack people or run in and get close, like what would be like Cozy Shroud's Aatrox or Zaga or even Tisam, you can throw them back into their team with your ultimate, working as like a disengage and then kind of disrupt that play. You know, if Ezreal's kind of sitting in the back line, he takes a bunch of damage, ends up dying off.
Killer player goes through, does not connect onto anybody. Herald was summoned in this play. Trundle gets popped, and Kind Jungle is looking to run wild. Now it's going to be Cozy Shroud who's going to find himself going on down, and quickly the numbers advantage has gone into the favor of Maryville. Bullfrog looking for a possible gold card is going to draw red, and it will be the side of Maryville disengaging to the side of this dragon.
The attempt right here from the side of SLU is they're trying to muscle down mid tower as much as possible. This allows them to shove their wave so far that Strumpus is able to move pretty freely. This is the end of the goal right now for both of these mid laners, is to have their mid tower taken so that they can move out and about and start interacting with everyone else. The big difference is while both of these teams are kind of at arms with what plays have come through, 1,500 gold lead now for Maryville, and the biggest thing, 3 dragons in their back pocket, being able to set their soul points potential the same way they did in the previous as a potential kind of win condition that they've given themselves now. Sometime in the next 5 minutes, it's going to be necessary for SLU to figure something out. And now Strumpus dies in the side lane off of what looked like an ultimate coming out from the likes of the Twisted Fate. They're still finding ways to punish.
That was a solo kill, by the way. There was no assist that came across it. That was all him finding himself at the mercy of Get Back here. And That will absolutely happen. The burst from TF can be immense, and Strumpus has to find it out for himself. Now we are seeing Maryville look to control this top side jungle, and you were highlighting it in the early game, the warding that comes out here from a veteran like Shady. He makes sure vision is in all the right places.
Yeah, controlling both of kind of the centralizing junctions that would come about from the jungle, both around the Raptor Pit and then around what is the top side of the red buff. Make sure that anybody who's deploying into the top or the mid lane from that side of the map is going to get caught out. And then, of course, tracking the jungler with that Krugs, as well as being able to see if anybody else is going to pilfer those off so they can continue to time that camp and make sure they have an idea of where everyone else is. It is a decent setup for what could be a Baron play coming through with a Misfortune, a Twisted Fate, a Jace, and most specifically a very fed Viego. The potential for that kind of percentage health damage really does ramp up the threat of the Baron that could come through if Maryville so chooses, especially with a 2,000 gold advantage. It's not huge right now, but with 3 dragons in the back pocket, it's got to be a very kind of you have to be very cautious with how you approach this game now for the side of SLU, because again, losing 1 Baron could mean the entire ring of towers goes down, and this 2,000 gold lead ends up at a 8,000 gold lead, somewhere in that regard, which is not great. Is on a ward is Strumpus.
Yeah, he's Strumpus side, and he was shown out here as he popped the scrying as well, so they know exactly where he is. Take him for a ride, bring him back into the jungle as Kind Jungle. He is dominating.
Well played. They are really trying to muscle down this mid tower as much as possible. It is Ezreal just like fighting tooth and nail. Andy Bendy wants that mid tower so badly. It looks like they're just going to trade off top for bottom tower, where Cozy Shroud's going to be able to pull this. I think Chippies could clear the wave if a Shock Blast is in line, but it looks like that's not going to be enough.
Evan ulted the wave.
He doesn't want to pick at that tower, man.
And poor Andy, it's just 1 tower. It's all he wants. But now it's Chippies, who looks like he is all that the side of SLU could possibly want, as it will be them getting taken out. Chippies falling victim. Andy gets his reward in the mid lane. SLU coming out with some big dubs.
The attempted cover from Shady I can appreciate, but again, it was too little too late just because the damage is already there, and Chippy's getting shut down at least a little bit inside of this game. Kind Jungle. He's wanted it.
Distorted no, you don't want to into that flash, no!
That was sad. That was upsetting to see. He had no idea Getback was there. Getback was maybe seconds away from actually completing the back because he wanted to actually leave and just go spend the gold that he had in his back pocket. But instead, Kind's still in the area, pilfering off a couple of camps, given that like the bottom side was fully committed to from SLU. Runs face first into Strumpus, who doesn't even realize, kind of meanders directly into the face of Getback, who just gold cards him, gets another kill for the jungler right here. Maryville sitting on this massive advantage inside of the jungle. The combination of the Sunderer and the Blade of the Rune King for the likes of this Viego. Again, not only ramping the neutral objective pressure, but the strength of this champion just in general now is humongous. Easily able of following up with something like a gold card coming out from the likes of Getback. It makes it so hard for any kind of individual champion to really make a massive impact or step forward to challenge when you know the threat of that combination is on the board.
I'll be honest, man. You're talking about the jungle advantage. It's all on, when you talk about Maryville, it's all Kind Jungle right now. Kind Jungle 7-0-0 amassed a huge lead. And it's actually interesting. Both these teams kind of have these huge solo carries that could possibly come out. Kind Jungle on the Viego and Cozy on the Aatrox.
They will. Watching to see how this game actually plays out from this point, because again, Maryville is currently sitting on 3 dragons. They've got this gold advantage to begin with. Kind Jungle trying to flex a little bit onto Andy Bendy, but Andy Bendy has had at least a little more free time to play with here. In the previous game, so much interaction had occurred in his lane and in a bunch of fights. He was necessary to be there, and they picked on him a little bit. This game has felt a lot more lax in that regard.
Yeah, and Maryville not able to relapse at all, man. That was a beautiful pick, and that was actually what we were talking about inside of game number 1, most notably yourself when you were talking about Zaga really clean on these pillars. That was a beautiful pillar, man. Great.
And one of the most punishing champions, of course, to actually use it on, which is the Set, because like, how does he actually get away from that situation unless you give him an alt target? But even that, Shady's not able to pull the trigger fast enough. There's no good place for him to go. He just ends up dying off right there as another shutdown. As this is dragon control that's going to come over from the side of SLU. Their Ezreal's still scaling. They denied this dragon. They've got themselves an Aatrox who's pretty handy right now. They've shut down the kind of early game of the Jace. This is looking okay. They're still down 1,000 gold. They're still down the potential of the Dragon Soul, but at minimum right now, they're looking at least on pace to be able to compete in this later stage of the game.
You can see Get Back trying to see if he can gold card, get somebody out of position with that Destiny, but the pressure has been flipped and it's on to the top side of the map in favor of Maryville. Now T-Sun looking to get into range, jumps onto him, True Shot Barrage, solo player is going to be able to connect, but the TF is going to be able to go gold, and Kind Jungle is flashing over the wall, is going to be able to stay safe for a little bit longer, but Andy finds the kill. Now it's going to be the set trying to grab the Trundle and put him in a less favorable position. Beautiful bullet time to separate the team and part the red ocean here as they are just pushing away. SLU themselves. The pillar comes back and it comes back to bite them as it's going to be Viego barely able to live for a little bit longer. Goes forward with a borrowed Zenith Blade but is shut down. Andy Bendy looking to continue to move forward. Strumpus is just splitting while all of this is happening, and it's SLU who are looking to come out on top. Strump is actually TPing behind. They want to cut off all possible retreat, all possible hope. Chippies, Evan RL, True Shot Barrage not going to be able to connect. Cozy and Strumpus will follow up immediately. Chippies finds the kill onto Cozy. Andy looking to continue forward. This has happened for far too long. The HP bars are so critically low. The TF is here looking to play with a full deck of cards. The gold card connects, the wild card won't, and now it's going to be him getting taken out. It's only Andy Bendy stands tall.
Holy, that is ridiculous right there that it come out from that fight extending so long. There's no Strumpus to start things off. We aren't able to get a massive impact in terms of a couple of ultimates on both sides. End up with a 14-14 kill score and a gold lead now for the side of St. Louis University. What was an advantage that they had in the bottom side has now completely flopped as Ezreal pulled 4 kills in that fight. That is a massive gold shift that Andy Bendy has now been able to pull. This Ezreal, which has been basically non-existent up until this point in the game, is now perhaps the most fearsome tool that they've got on the side of SLU. Not only in team fighting, but now the poke is really going to start to land on a lot of these kind of very squishy members. 2.5 items, almost onto that 3rd item breakpoint. It's going to make Andy Bendy way too hard to deal with.
Yeah, a raw True Shot Barrage is taking out a quarter of HP from this MF here, and we're seeing these flying through the air multiple times over and over again. Unfortunately, Cozy is caught out, is on a ward, will get jump scared, and will get jumped onto, has to pop the World Ender, but look at this, Sue puts him back in, drop him in the pile driver, but the rest of the team is coming in to route. It is going to be Get Back, trying to lay out the gold card, trying to zone away anybody else from this squad here. It's Cozy. He lives for so long, but it's not long enough as the rest of the squad is over here on the edge, looking to see if they can find a possible way in. Shady Chippies going in for a deep flank, and they will be able to find just that. A beautiful stun from T-Sum, but it will just delay his death as Kind Jungle is going to be able to reap the benefits of it. Now it's going to be them looking for more. It's a beautiful gold card yet again. One by one, SLU begins to fall. Shady out here hunting like a bounty hunter, looking for Strumpus, but will be able to disappear. Comes back in onto Distortion. Another kill to Andy.
They're able to respond a very quick kind to what was looking like an extremely clean play coming out from Maryville. They pulled 3 members off, didn't get Andy, didn't get Strumpus, who are 2 of the biggest carries, and they're able to find their own pick, and they've driven off of what looked like it could have been a Baron, as Cozy Shroud's going to be back up, T-Sum's going to be back up right now, and Zaga's going to be up in 15, so they just have to pull away from the Baron buff and walk out of this situation. That felt like something they could have capitalized on, forced them into the Baron pit, but instead Maryville, looking too far forward, trying to get the kills, end up getting picked off, driven out with the amount of health that was done by SLU, who, once again, slow down the game a little bit. Mountain Drake is going to be here. They're going to have all of their members up very quickly to be able to set up this river much faster, especially since they were the ones that just shoved down Maryville. And that's going to open up potentially a fight around this Drake that could lead to even more kind of fighting between these 2 teams. Just try to get the a full firm grasp on this game right now, because we're within 500 gold of one another.
Yeah, I feel like this is exactly what we were expecting going into this matchup, saying, oh, yo, this is the rivalry being born right here before our very eyes here inside of the first week of the UPL, and already seeing it coming into fruition. This is exactly what we were expecting going into game number 1, and game number 2, we're seeing it. All the hype is here, and it's being delivered upon.
It is. biggest thing is how do you get onto Ezreal right here? Kind is going to take that ultimate, but it's not going to matter. But again, getting onto Ezreal is very difficult. I think that's got to be the job of Get Back here if he's able to find some way. Other than that, you know, a flank from Shady's got to be the only other option. He's coming in from the rooftop.
Yeah, looking for a possible play here is going to be him all alone, though. Has to flash away, but he is not enough to keep him at bay. Zaga finds the kill onto Shady. Now it is the side of Maryville who has to retreat, but a quick pickoff onto Evan will change everything. Kind Jungle finds Cozy. He's into the backline. He finds his way onto Andy. It's going to not be enough, though, as Andy is just so incredibly strong here. The cleanse comes out late here, as he is not going to be able to utilize it fully, but it's just enough. A double kill, an ace, and SLU comes out slugging.
Oh, they try so hard. On that flank comes in Shady, trying to get something on this Dragon Pig. He gets dropped instantly. I thought the fight afterwards was just completely doomed. They seemed to have decent fight as Kind almost works his way through the entire front line. One auto attack, one Q auto away from killing off Andy Bendy. And Get Back does the same thing. He is one auto attack off of killing Andy Bendy. Neither one of them can get the job done. And because of that, 2 dragons now in the back pocket of this SLU roster. And this humongous Ezreal is officially onto the 4-item mark with the Frozen Heart completed. It is going to be so difficult. They already have a difficult time getting onto him. Now that he's powerful, what are you going to do in that back line if you're getting all of your attack speed slowed, if you don't have the ability to rip through that armor? There just isn't a good response right now. Andy Bendy can solo carry the game from here.
Yeah, Andy Bendy is set up for success with a capital S right now, man. He is looking like he is working on that S rank. He is killing it inside this game, and all questions and doubts. We were wondering, why are they putting this priority onto the Ezreal pick here? And this is exactly why.
That it is. It's finally paid off. Game 1, it did not look great, only because it got aggressed against very quickly. This game had a chance to kind of sit, fester a little bit longer, and now it's costing the side of Maryville to let it sit for just so long. Without actually doing anything to attack it. Putting it into the mid lane, it gave it such an ability, like a defensive ability, being able to offend against that mid tower, and no conversions from Maryville for the most part, despite having the Twisted Fate in their back pocket. A much better game plan from SLU. Now,
they're looking for a play here. Shady is looking to try and make an impact here. Beautiful bullets onto 3 members. They get the Ezreal. Ezreal's been popped, but so has the Viego. Both kings have fallen here for both sides, but now it's Zags taking out Chippy. And it looks like it is the side of SLU who was running on a rampage here. Strumpus finds a kill, and Evan and Bill have to retreat as swiftly as possible.
Maryville's composition is so one-horse kind of directive right here, where it is the Viego who's got the majority of the damage. You have to start popping off to make sure that he's able to accomplish quite a bit. Yes, they get the Ezreal, but then once your Viego goes down, you know, Jace has been denied a fair amount of gold. Get Back hasn't been able to pull a bunch of gold, and Evan has not even pulled a kill in this game, if I recall, from the previous score that we had seen, unless that has changed since that moment. And because of that, now you've got Strumpus, who's had a bunch of gold, and Cozy, who absorbed a bunch of it in the earlier stage of the game, able to take over with no one really to kill him. I talked about it. Viego's the only one that can really contest Aatrox in a fight. Once he's gone, I mean, if Evan's ultimate is down, which it was in this circumstance, there is very little that can be done to try to stop this Aatrox without, like, severely CCing him into death or without any backup from the remainder of the team. This SLU composition is so hard to deal with now from the likes of Maryville.
Maryville has to figure out a way to kind of control things for themselves here. We saw last time in game number 1, they took the game with a more methodical, a stranglehold, if you will, that they wanted to just squeeze the life out, and now they're on the receiving end here, as SLU has been explosive with them being able to grab just dominance inside these team fights here. And now with Maryville losing multiple team fights in succession, I think, what is their answer here as the dance around the big purple worm has begun? Destiny has been popped. They're just looking to run away as swiftly as they can.
Able to stop them. They had a decent, like, very large flank angle that had come out from the likes of Maryville onto this Baron buff if SLU were to go for it. Now they pushed them out, and they had already burnt the Destiny, so they have no idea that this is happening. They're away. They cannot respond. Instead, they're just going to try to push for the bottom lane inhibitor, maybe. They're going to push up mid-tower, try to pull some gold back so they can contest for what is the Dragon, which I have to assume is going to be the bait here, is they want to go onto Soul Point. They want to take Mountain Soul off the board, not let the triple, quadruple stack come in for the likes of St. Louis. If they will play it, it's going to be fine for them. They're okay with taking this game into like multiple dragon territory. So Maryville, they put their foot down. They say, we need gold now. We're going to put it in our pockets, and then we are going to be ready to fight in exactly 50 seconds when that dragon's going to come up. If we win that fight, all of a sudden this Baron buff means nothing.
We're looking to cast a net here, pull up somebody in an unsuspecting trap. Look at that true shot, Barrage, man. Evan, where's your HP at, bro?
Question. Not on his health bar, that's for sure. There's nowhere for it to be.
Somebody put up a poster.
Actually, this is pretty bad. So Strompus is pushing on the top side of the map. They've got a wave in mid lane right now. They're 25 seconds out from the dragon. They just have to back. They have to completely give this up. And that means that Strompus likely pulls an inhibitor.
Oh.
Shady's stuck in the jungle. He's probably just going to go down. There's nothing left here. This is Maryville. They overstepped their bounds. They thought that there was going to be more respect maybe from the side of SLU, but it just doesn't happen. The Shady goes down. No warding now to be able to compete. They've got mid and they got on top that were shoved in very far from this team. And now Mountain Drake is going to go over to the side of SLU. This was their whole banking of giving up that dragon. Moving up into topside was attempting to fight for this, but they lose all of it off the back of that push from Strompus and the rest of the team.
SLU looking phenomenal right now. Third Mountain Drake claimed, and the Vice has been put on for the side of Maryville now. They are having difficulty breathing. The Baron buff, the dragons stacking. This game screams everything in favor of SLU at this current moment in time, and they're looking to brute force their way in here. It seems they're looking for the catch. Tescum finding TF. Strompus pops the misfortune in the back line. Nets to follow is going to be Bill. Get back, get set back, as it is just going to be pure destruction coming through. Beautiful face breaker, but it doesn't amount to anything at the moment as the kills continue to go forward. And this is going to be game going over to SLU.
Extremely well played from SLU. They finally get some resources in the top set to get Andy Bendy going at the later part of the game. This is what they were looking for in game number 1. It was very unclear that's what they were trying, but this game, much clearer, much better champions to accomplish that goal on. A lot more comfortable here. SLU, this is what we expected coming into Maryville. This is what we expected in terms of competition, and we're going to a game number 3.
Yeah, we are going into game number 3. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're going to send it over to a short break while we get everything prepared for game number 3. So, we will be right back. fancy graphics, and we are ready for game number 3 here, as we are seeing these two teams that are building this rivalry here against one another here unfold live. My name is Travis. I'm joined here with Rebel Fox.
After an incredible game number 1, which went really heavily into the favor of Maryville, St. Louis was able to come back in game 2. It was hotly contested for the first 20 minutes, but once the Ezreal started going, once Andy Bendy really started getting going in that game, it was really difficult to get that to stop as fast as possible. Now, game number 3, Maryville got side selection. They're going to jump over to the red side. The debut so far, I think, has been really good for Kind Jungle. I think Get Back has actually had some solid play, and Evan RL, the misfortune is all he's played today. Maybe we'll get him off of that soon enough here as well.
Yeah, and the picks are going to be quick, and they are going to be in order. So we're going to kind of let them unfold a little bit here before we start dissecting them here. I do want to also give a highlight to a member who was a part of the core roster that we are seeing here. Shady has been having a fantastic day, especially inside the laning phase where he's known to roam around the map a little bit more. He's been putting in some work.
That he has. Really taking it into the bottom lane, because there's been a number of times now where in the 2v2, he has dominated just on the Nautilus and off the set in the early phases of the laning phase, helping set himself and Evan RL up for what is a good transition into the mid game. And after that, we also have the combination of like his roaming, up against the likes of Tsum has had a bit more of an impact over the course of the entire map as expected. That's why we watch the game right there. I talked about it a couple of times. We didn't see it at HughFest. I'm glad I don't look like an absolute imbecile. Andy Bendy busting out the Karthus bot lane tech back when Karthus first was like freshly buffed a couple years ago now at this point, and Karthus was getting flexed into 3 roles, jungle, mid, and into the bottom lane. Pretty much the only person that had picked him up in the bottom side was Andy Bendy, and the specialty is coming out on display for us here today.
All right, I'm actually really excited for this because there's a very specific personal reason. I don't know if you know this about me, Dean, but my highest win rate in ranked is actually Karthus bot lane. This is all I play when I play bot lane.
That is awesome.
This is absolutely fantastic to be able to see, because I've been talking about, Karthus is pretty good bot lane, right? Like, you don't have to play him in the jungle. Put him bot lane. He works out just fine, and you get to see it right here.
Absolutely. It's a very strange dynamic that we have set up in this bottom lane, as like Karthus with Leona means that like if somebody gets caught up in Leona CC, all of a sudden it's a lot harder to get away, and it's going to be guaranteed damage dropped into that member. Rakan is somebody who is very susceptible to that CC. It almost makes me want to see Shady take Cleanse rather than saying like Ignite or something, and then Misfortune going for something like the Exhaust in the back pocket, or like the heal in the back pocket, just to make sure that's going to come through, just so that they don't get punished by this lane. But I also know that like what's going to happen eventually, Misfortune's going to be on her own. Rakan's going to be out and about on the map. This is Shady that we're talking about, trying to aggress against everywhere else on the map, especially when you look at what you've set up now for the top side here from St. Louis University. You got the Camille and you got the Lucian, 2 terrifying champions to look at from the side of St. Louis University, alongside Zaga, who once again is going to be having that Trundle to make some early aggression.
And talking about terrifying, I want to talk about the Shroud of just everything that is terrifying about the fact that this Lucian, right? This is a pick. This is one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, sure. It would have been crazy to be able to see what the pick order exactly was for this Lucian, because you talked about it inside of game number 1. It had to be banned away because this is such a flexible champion for the side of SLU, and it demands respect. Well, I think it's actually very interesting on the other side too. We're getting to see a Lilia come out from Kind Jungle instead of the Viega, instead of the Kindred, which was banned, is going back to a jungler who has really been only seen in niche pools for junglers.
Yeah, back when Lilia first got released, that was when Iconic was on the roster, and Iconic is one of the best Lilias that we saw inside of Collegiate, inside of Amateur, just in general. That was before the likes of Batty. He's stepping up onto the champion, becoming one of the best, but Kind Jungle got to learn from one of those best type of Lilias, and it's not shocking that he's got it back in the back pocket. Not to mention, I mean, he's an Evelyn player by trade, and so it's not shocking that he's got other AP champions in his back pocket to be able to use as well alongside all of this together. And it's a big team fighting tool as well. In case you don't know, one of the big interactions that you're going to note here, when you hit the sleep button from the Lilia off the back of like, what is a Q, a W, and E, whatever it might be, tick damage doesn't actually prevent any of the waking up, which means that if you Misfortune Ultimate onto a bunch of sleeping enemies, then that means that the damage is going to come through one way or another. So it's a guaranteed way to get a setup here for Evan RL.
It's actually disgusting if he's able to find the right angles for it. But in talking about disgusting, I want to go ahead and give a flashback to a repressed memory, possibly for the side of SLU here, as we do have the Jets over here in the top side. We're seeing the same matchup between the Camille and the Jets. They both have the same champion yet again that they played before in this matchup, and it did not go well for Cozy last time.
I do not believe it did. That was off the back of some very early pressure that was applied to make sure that Chippies would get some gold into his back pocket. Basically was on the first item before Cozy Shroud was onto like a completed item whatsoever. And after even some more ganks coming through, Camille didn't pick up too much gold, and Jax was still able to run that matchup in the one-on-one for the remainder of the game. So while the attempted kind of pressure was there from game number 1 when they tried to counteract that Jax getting the early gold, it wasn't capable of actually accomplishing what they wanted to.
And not capable at all, I would say. For sure, there was an idea, but the idea didn't have substance behind it. Had to see if that might flip around a little bit here. We do see yet again the Trundle yet again inside that jungle. And I talked about it inside of game number 1 after the game, man. Seeing a Trundle and Camille into a Jats, that is, if Jats gets ahead, Trundle can't bail you out of that lane, man.
Before anything else, I just want to come back to some important things about what has happened. So in game number 2, we ran into some rough technical difficulties that has now made us drop our desk. So props to Ravish and Desirux and Coach Coco, or Coach Koso, or Coach Costco if you prefer, because that's what our producer had actually lovely named him. So anyway, those 3, give props to them any chance you time. Like next time you talk to them, if you run into them, make sure to give them props because they were here. They were grinding just like us. They were enjoying the games, but unfortunately we had to drop them because of the technical issues that has come about. Same reason why right now we're in a little bit of different kind of setup than we were before.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe actually if you do exclamation mark casters or talent, I can't remember what the exact command is, but if you do that, it will pop up in the Twitch chat, and I implore you to go and follow every single one of the lovely people that were on side of the desk. They absolutely deserve it, and they're absolute troopers for what they did. So definitely give them some love, follow them, keep an eye out for them because they're always doing some cool stuff. But talking about cool stuff now, Rebel, we are getting into game here, and that's the definition of cool stuff, as this is game number 3 in this best of 3.
You're the definition of cool stuff, Travis.
Oh, thank you.
See, you always get a chance to compliment me, but I rarely get a chance to compliment you. Now it's my opportunity to be able to flex that at least a little bit. And
I'm not even on camera, and I'm blushing. Ooh.
Exactly. You can tell you're blushing from off camera. It doesn't even matter. Third game here. Just a quick update for anybody who would have kind of rambled in, because there were a number of people who probably came in, especially after we broke the stream in game number 2. Game number 1, Maryville had a very impressive kind of win off the back of a number of different reasons. Playing Kind jungle, get back in the mid lane, he's Bullfrog Bill, and then Evan RL coming back into the roster today. Game number 2, SLU off the back of some early topside pressure for Cozy Shroud on an Aatrox, and getting Andy Bendy on his Ezreal into a very substantial place, being able to take over Teamfight. We're able to take game number 2 after a very contested match. So, the game number 1 was a stomp for Maryville, but game number 2 showed us why we were so hyped for the Battle of St. Louis. Coming into this one as 2 of our top collegiate squads are now making the the 3rd time in a row series here, making sure that we are going to get hopefully some very fantastic action in this game number 3.
I'm exactly looking forward to it, especially since we got Kind Jungle playing this Predator variant. Oh God, is he going to miss the ward? He missed the ward. Oh no.
That's painful. They don't know that this is actually being tracked. This is what happened to Kind in game number 1 on the Kindred, but unfortunately it didn't matter because eventually it was Zaga who got caught on that top side. So in this one, it is going to be Kind Jungle who's going to be able to maybe make a response or at least call out where it is that Zaga is going to end up at some point.
As Chippies is making use of the strong level 1 of a Jat over there in the top side. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. We're getting a couple runbacks in some lanes, and then in others we are seeing some brand new picks coming into the fold. By the way, double combat summoners over here in the bot side for SLU here. They got the Exhaust and the Ignite, looking for that pressure.
Yeah. Heal useful in some circumstances, but I like the Exhaust a lot more because if he's trying to, my apologies. Somebody's trying to stick to you as much as possible. That's a good way to get them off. This would be a great situation.
Coming in, they are going to be able to tick away the HP, but will be able to survive. No summoners burned from the side of SLU's bot lane.
Yeah, got to respect at least the ability to hold that, because it would have been easy enough to try to throw that exhaust down just to make sure Shady didn't get a bunch of trading damage. But it had Evan RL actually full engaged for that. The exhaust would have been useful to maybe keep himself alive without having to burn the flash immediately. But that is the third time now in 3 games that level 2 has been earned by Evan RL and Shady, and they've been able to flex that advantage immediately in the laning phase. They've capitalized on it. 2 kills inside the laning phase so far for the likes of Shady, punishing Keesum most of the time off the back of, again, that early level 2 coming in.
Bro, I don't even know if we can call it Evan and Shady. It's Shady who's really putting in the pressure. It doesn't matter what champion he's on. He's got that chest puffed out and looking to be the Chad support that he's known to be. But Get Back is trying to push Strumpus back, but he's got the fancy footwork to back up that damage onto him.
Able to prevent him from doing anything too crazy right here. Thing is, checking for jungle, Lilia walked through the middle of the top side and went back to the Gromp, hasn't taken the top side scuttle, but you see, once again off the back of pushing pressure, Shady and Evan RL this time are able to take the scuttle crab. In game number 2 is just Shady who was able to take it with the likes of the set support. But again, punishing yet again Zaga, whose pathing they seem to have actually claimed to a T for the most part, to the point where Kind Jungle was able to step out of top river, go up to Krugs, and then their bottom lane steps up into bottom river, knowing that Zaga is going to make a back happen, and then go down there looking for that scuttle crab to be available, expecting Lilia to be on the other side of the map. Interesting that Zaga hasn't stepped in quite yet trying to go for the scuttle crab, but that still has yet to be taken by Kind. He doesn't go for it either.
Yeah, this is a bit interesting from the story of the 2 junglers at this current moment in time. Keesum looking to get aggressive, showing that shield off. It just got a new shine onto it and was looking to put it to use on Shady's forehead. But not going to be able to find that opportunity just yet, as both these junglers are down here in the bot lane.
Yeah, it is respectably difficult here from the side of Maryville's bot lane to find a full engagement with the Rakan out of the punishment that can come through from the Karthus and the Leona.
Oh, they're looking for something here. Going to force a flash. Kind Jungle goes bowling, finds the target, but it's not going to lead up to any kills just yet.
Ooh. Yeah, I was about to say, the problem is also that, like, the aggression that can come out from SLU means that, like, Shady, if he gets to respond with what is, like, a grand entrance as a counteraction to Keesum, as well as, like, the battle dance coming through, it's really difficult to find that aggression as well. It's like a game of counteraction between the likes of the Rakan and the Leona here. Just like whoever engages feels like they are on the back foot unless you get an extremely clean engage off into the opposing ADC, and or you have jungle support there ready and available to actually make a play happen. Notice, if you will, also Lilia expecting to finish the entire clear much faster than the likes of this Trundle on the opposite side, and so they caught Zaga on bottom side on a counter gank, and Kind has left the top side scuttle available up until this point where maybe he's going to be able to find that one for himself instead of taking on that first rotation and coin flipping it to either side of the map, instead knowing he's going to be able to grab that now on his second rotation of jungle camps. Yeah,
I mean, you did also get to see Cozy got a nice warden off of a shove here, actually had a nice bit of presence going for themselves here, but immediately Chippy's looking to answer back with level 6 coming here soon for these solo lanes. It's going to be a very terrifying time, especially up here in the top lane.
Kind has completely reversed sides. I expected to go to Krugs and then into top side to be able to snag that scuttle crab away, but actually ended up not. And they don't find him out either. They have no idea that he actually is on this bottom side right now, maybe looking to try to put some pressure into this lane up against the likes of Andy Bendy's Karthus.
They're looking for it. Predator has been used. They're going to make it rain, apply the slow. First blood claimed for the Lilia as Cozy getting taken out in a solo kill by Chippies in the top lane.
Yo, props to Chippies being able to find a solo kill on that, but gotta give double props to Kind. That pathing was so unique. He leaves that topside scuttle up to look again, potentially to be able to snag that later on in his clear. Instead, opts to say, okay, I'm gonna leave it on topside. That way, if Zaga steps in, we're going to, he's gonna be able to snag that one. It's gonna keep him distracted. Just immediately hightails into bot lane to use this Predator to punish this Karthus in the earlier stages of the game when he is that kind of weakest point that he's gonna be. Interesting little game plan between these two. That was so big of a U-turn right there. Was not expecting that from Kind in the slightest. Also wins them another dragon. Big stuff from Maryville, been able to capitalize once again, this time out of Kind Jungle's gank, but also another solo kill in one of these side lanes like they've been capitalizing on all series.
First dragons have been 100% for them. Now power being unleashed. Get back, Strumpus, as the Ignite will be able to finish him off. Shady gets the kill.
He will. Well played. Another, again, Shady's able to move out of his lane relatively easily. When you've got a Karthus and when you've got some of these other ADCs that Andy Bendy has been rocking during the course of the laning phase, Tsum has had to play a little bit more kind of lock and key to the bottom side than he would want to, and it's opened up Shady to make a lot of these roams. Cover for his mid laner right now. You know, Get Back, relatively new addition to the team, one of his first competitive experiences here for the side of MU, and they're giving him some good support. It was Twisted Fate the first 2 games so that he could help out his map. Now the Syndra requiring just a little bit of help into the likes of the Lucian, willing to give that over and punishing up against the strongest Lucian that he is so famous for.
I also really like the strategy that we are seeing from Maryville, as we are seeing Shady focusing on lane dominance and then translating that immediately, which has been honestly beautiful to see here, as now they're getting resources into 2 lanes in such a nice ebb and flow here. So really good on them to be able to continue this out. But SLU is taking advantage, is going to grab Herald over in the top side for themselves. So going to grab them a neutral objective of their own.
Nice response from the likes of SLU. They know after kind of that barrage of plays that had happened across the map between the bottom side into the Dragon and the resets needed to be taken from across the board from Maryville, they're able to punish on top side with the Rift Herald to put some gold down into the pockets of their enemies. I have to say, both mid laners with a ton of respect right now with their kind of respective armor and magic resist items between the 2 of them, the Zonias, the Seeker's Arm Guard, although Kind with this Predator likely just chases down Cozy. He has flat... Oh, he missed the Q.
He missed it. Yep, unfortunate for him, but the aggression coming out here into the bot lane. Andy gonna have to make some use out of that passive here, get a couple of shots in, drop the Skittles, but over into the top lane, a little bit of a 2v2 tussle coming through. Does need to be a bit careful here. Kind Jungle does have that wilting lullaby available at any moment's notice. Is looking for a possible kill. Edsec ultimatum was used. Cozy trying to get out of range of Chippies now, as Zaga is looking to take a chop out of him, sweep the legs, and find your double kill. Cozy coming out on top.
Nice alcove gameplay from Cozy right there, being able to deny the trade kill coming out from Chippies. It looked like Kind didn't want to commit to that very heavily. Looked to try to put down the passive. Had to wait so long to use that Q so that he could apply it to Cozy Shroud to maybe turn in that fight with the ulting Lullaby, that it ended up being too much damage before he could even get the Q fully out to be able to apply that ultimate. Does at least keep it in his back pocket, which is nice the entire time, although, again, another punishment to bottom side. That is Shady being able to get on top of this Karthus without the punishment coming off the back foot from the likes of Tsum. Tsum has to play this more Vanguard role for this, the likes of this Karthus, because you saw what the effect is. When he gets the taunt, the knock up into the ultimate from the likes of Misfortune, it is an instant execute. There is no response that could come out.
This is just really good coming out from the side of SLU, man. I feel like we're going to have to keep our eyes on to them. They neutralized what I was starting to get concerned, man. I got flashbacks at game number 1. And now we're getting flashbacks to all series long, as it looks like Shady trying to make some impact happen over here in the mid lane. The pressure is on Strumpus immediately here, as oh man, they're really trying to turn up the temperatures. Cozy taking a chunk of damage.
2 of those keep going back and forth on the top side.
Oh, they're looking for the play. They flash around, and Andy Benny trying to see what he can do, but cannot survive. Shady finds the end bit of that kill, and this Karthus, man.
Oh, man.
Biggest weakness. Can't move very fast.
He dropped Flash and Exhaust just to get out of the ultimate from the likes of the Misfortune. And even then, I feel like the Misfortune has the better end of those trading tools to come out. Evan RL not punished in the slightest right there. Ultimate doesn't even get dropped by the likes of it, just to drop the health of NRL. Instead, you're trying to hold that onto that, make sure that it's used for something useful. But right there, Evan flexing a little bit, forcing out the the summoners from the likes of the Karthus and capitalizing. It was Shady who ended up getting it, but again, if that ends up just being the one-on-one duel, Misfortune wins that all day long with the lethality that's already been configured. And what is it? It's like 2 books, and I think at least one of those was already purchased. Yeah, this is a gap on the bottom side to the likes we haven't seen. We've seen CS differences between the combination of what has been Misfortune every game from the likes of Evan into what has been Ezreal to this point, but this is the most fearsome we've seen. 40 CS difference at 11 minutes into the game. 12 minutes.
Ooh. Scout of the Week did find its prey, a charm as well onto Strumpus.
Oh my
But it is not going to result in any kills just yet. Andy gets caught out in the jungle by Kind Jungle here, as it is just going to be another stun compounded in. Kind fat fingering the stopwatch there, and it's just going to be Maryville disengaging from here. We do see Herald It was on its timer, last leg, summoned to go into the top side.
Andy Bendy, man, he has gotten punished so many times. It has been him on exclusively scaling stuff. Again, them assuming that this bottom lane from Maryville is going to play more scaling. They've prepared it. They come out, and it has just been misfortune, 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 time and time again. Now Strump is looking to kill off Evan.
Yeah, the Colleen is looking to Cole. He will be able to find it as that is the kill onto Evan RL. Now it is Ocean Dragon under half HP is being reset. Chippies is here in the area looking to assist. Harold's going to get a charge up in the top side of the map, but that is not what Maryville is concerned with. They're concerned with their leading Kind Jungle. It is going to be the killing spree coming through, but Chippies is looking to be a janitor. He's got the broom in hand, and he's looking to clean up this fight. A double kill to come through, but a nice influx of gold into the pocket of Andy Bendy, and an Ocean Dragon to top it all off.
And it is Zaga, above all things. Right there, Zaga, no smite in that dragon, attempting to make some semblance of a play that had come out right there, just as a response into the top side as opposed into that dragon pit that had come through. I don't know how it is that they're able to turn that fight completely in their favor. They're down so much gold. They lost their Lucian pretty quick, and yet it is only the combination of Cozy Shroud, the likes of Andy Bendy, and Tsum, those four people on bottom side are able to turn so much into a 4v5 situation. Yes, they're going to get punished. They're going to lose their bottom tower to the likes of this misfortune, but man, SLU make a massive swing. It seems like out of almost nowhere with how dominant Maryville's been.
Oh my god! Oh man! Just immediately catch him out, call your shots. Shady making it look like he's just saying pull from the fog of war. Cozy, lucky to live on this day.
That is the second time we've seen that pulled. This is one of the more fed members here. This is Cozy, who's respectively like strong, especially with all the grass procs that have been about to be able to increase that health, having completed Divine Sunderer. Man, you could see the lead, like the kind of ability to kill between the combination of this Rakan and this Misfortune. I want to see them put this elsewhere, though. This is like the third game in a row that Evan has been on this massive advantage, massive CS advantage, has the Yumu so quickly into the game, but then hasn't roamed with this speed that you've got. You're so fast at moving with this Misfortune and this Rakan. Go hit mid lane, go hit jungle, go hit somewhere. Don't just like continue to bear down on the bottom side. You already put Andy Bendy into a hold that he's probably not going to be able to recover. Go help the rest of your team.
Yeah, I'd love to help the rest of your team. A flash being burned as Kind Jungle was looking to take away some chickens here. And I wholeheartedly agree, man, because this is going to scale, man. Yeah. Like, that is a big thing. I'm actually kind of curious on what the Dark Harvest stacks are currently sitting at. I don't believe you should have really any at this moment in time because of how far he's been punished. But he does have Dark Harvest. He is Karthus. Yes. He will get better as the game goes on.
And all it takes is, like, one fight to not go perfectly. Oh, Cozy Shroud.
Yet again, though, they're focusing everything on bot lane.
They are. They're trying. Top lane is getting the exact same treatment. This time it's Get Back who's going to be able to get away. He's got the wave clear on the Syndra, but they can just dive him right now. And they've got Herald, yeah, like you said, right there. So right now the setup needs to be onto Chippies. Chippies going to push up bot lane. They want to dive into what is the Carpus and then probably shift into top just to potentially punish what is the push that's coming out from the likes of Zaga and Strumpus with this Rift Herald. Especially, they don't see the third member who could be hovering, but honestly, they probably would imagine he'd be gone. Hopefully, Get Back's able to stop that Rift Herald before it charged into that top inner tower.
Yeah, he'll be able to. Nobody else to really interrupt or play spoiler to Get Back on his way to deal with the Herald over into the top side of the map. But right now, we are looking at the game 16 and a half minutes in, and gold lead, while in the favor of Maryville, it's not an incredible lead that I feel like they would be comfortable with.
No, they're not doing too crazy right now. A lot of it is in, like, the side lane of Jax. He's got the Trinity Force, and that feels pretty good. You're not ahead by a ton of gold, but against the likes of the Camille, this is going to be a point where you feel strong. It is really, a lot of it is the advantage that's held by the likes of Evan RL. The jungle difference with Zaga, because he's pulled so many tower plates, is pretty much it. It's a little bit in CS as well, because there's been a fair amount of interaction with Kind Jungle with the map. But almost all of that gold advantage comes from taking 2 full towers with the Rift Herald, and including getting multiple plates off that top tower that he had taken while the Dragon Pit was kind of getting fought. But again, Maryville's advantage lies in their bottom side. They've got this Rakan and they've got this Misfortune. Go use it, man. Go find places to put these two, because you've got an insanely powerful combination that cannot be matched in the slightest.
Shady almost caught out of position there, and could be a very terrifying thing to see as it continues to go on. And we were talking about the gold just a moment ago. I do want to point out some of the items that are being completed because we're seeing everybody now has completed their first item. And the Karthus even decided to go the Leandri's route on the build path instead of any other possible builds, and is looking to try and maximize that damage per minute, man.
Just trying to get out damage. I think part of it is it's pretty solid into a bunch of members that build health, and you'll probably see health on at least a couple of builds that are coming out here, between the likes of mages, between the likes of like Lilia, between chippies, and being able to burn through that's pretty useful. The bigger portion of it also might be just that like Andy Betty probably isn't getting more than one Luden's proc off in a fight, so like a Leandri's probably ends up just doing more damage when he hits multiple targets with his ultimate or something like that. So like in terms of efficiency,
AoE burn,
probably got an AoE burn, percentage health pick, like as
he's getting to use his passive at the very least. Maybe not his other abilities, but
a little bit of damage on.
Shady looking for an engage is going to be able to find a massive one. Trundle's HP has been absolutely decimated at this point, but Zaga will be able to survive. Beautiful scatter the weak does connect onto 3 vital members, but now it is a dance, a tango around the dragon. It is the Infernal Dragon that is awaiting them. They're looking for a possible angle. HP dropped. Andy taken off. But it's now the time for the Requiem to come down. Damage laid bare. Bullfrog Bill falls victim. You got Chippies in the backside wreaking havoc. There's Strumpus trying to see what he can do to possibly salvage this, but they get divided, and divided SLU fall.
And it is Chippies who's able to put a bunch of pressure in. I thought right there was going to be a ton of work done by the likes of Andy Betty. I was convinced, like, that positioning around the dragon, that ultimate, I was like, this is a fight. This is a fight win for the side of SLU. But they don't have the follow-up necessary to get anybody except for get back during the course of this fight. So, that is Maryville able to kind of capitalize, able to get this Jax into an insanely good position without the Misfortune ultimate, which they had burnt just before. Not able to full win that fight, but very close to pretty much just taking the entire situation into their back pocket all on their own, getting their second dragon of the game, putting themselves into an advantageous situation now with 2,500 gold lead.
I'm gonna be honest, man. There's a part of me deep inside that wants to see Andy see these moments where he is guaranteed to die, especially with him going this Leandri build, and use that flash to flash into all of them.
That is what we like to call the ARAM strategy.
It's great.
It's like ARAM Karthus, where you hit snowball, and then like when you snowball, you just always take it.
Yep.
And then, like, if you die, you're just in the middle of the enemy team. And if you don't die, then you just do it again and your snowball comes off cooldown.
Exactly! Listen, use your flash like it's a Malphite ult is all I'm asking here. As we are seeing some damage be laid out. Cozy trying to jump onto Kind Jungle. He's buying critical moments of time. But it is still Zaga who will be the hunter. And Kind Jungle will be the prey.
So far, Zaga has done an amazing job of just putting pressure on this map as opposed to Lilia in a couple of positions. This has been a really big Trundle pillar that's been able to come out. There are 3 members here, as well as the Misfortune ultimate, which is huge to deny this away. I almost would have preferred they keep Jax on the bottom side of the map, knowing that like they should have been able to push this off. Because if they full commit to the Baron, you just drop Misfortune ultimate, and all of a sudden they have to leave. There is no other option. They will lose too much health if Misfortune is able to get all of them into a kind of a fish in a barrel type situation. Instead, Maryville pull all of their members here. They go, okay, we will just take this 4-on-5, 4-on-4 situation because, of course, they saw Strumpus on the bottom side would have recalled the TP, and that does drive them off. Although, again, I still think they need to be putting on so much pressure with this side lane Jax, given just how strong that Chippies really is right now. Nearly completed onto 2 full items, has the Trinity Force, very little pressure that another side laner is going to be able to put into him at this moment compared to a lot of other champions. That's something that needs to be leveraged by Maryville when they're trying to set up some of these neutral objectives or contest with these neutral objectives.
I mean, I'm right there with you. Why do we have a Syndra in the side lane and not Chippies? Who can answer Chippies right now?
Okay. Now, out of fairness, there are 3 people behind Chippy. Get back right now. There's not like this split pushing on a Syndra. There's people behind him hovering to make it look like there's something else, and then it's just a 1-through-1 setup where Misfortune's able to catch most of the mid farm, and there's not much pressure behind her unless they really want to force into that situation, which is just not going to happen. Evan's also out of vision right now. Maybe they can catch Saga.
No, they're looking for it. They are going to be able to lay a good amount of damage onto him. The HP is being destroyed. Evan RL finds the kill and a beautiful catch to turn their attention over to Baron. The call has been made. Jat is nowhere to be found. He is looking to join the team over here at the Baron Pit. It is just going to be these 3 members over here looking to tango here, trying to see if they'll be able to get a catch. Otter looking to try and lay in some good damage. This thing is going down so slow. Beautiful bullet time. Scattered the Weak connects yet again. The Requiem comes through. It's a Solar Flare connecting onto 2 vital members. They're going to find a kill onto Bill. They are turning this around immensely. Chippies is getting his HP targeted nets. Shady trying to find a way alive. Headstack Ultimatum comes out and tells Chippies there is no way for him to survive. He will find himself getting chased down. Cozy is able to survive, but the counter-strike comes out in the nick of time. Chippies finds a kill on the exit. Strompus in a dangerous way looking to chase him on. This is not a fight you want.
Don't try it. No. Don't try it. Okay. We finally broken this fight altogether. I'm just baffled right now, man. Like, it's Andy Benny getting just completely denied from the pit. And I'm like, okay, just flash do something. Instead he gets, like, eat away by the likes of the Syndra. They can't quite close out the Baron. And the fight ends up going so heavily to SLU. They do such good work. But Chippies is a powerhouse right now. He's able to, like, 1v3 in the course of these fights, and nobody wants to step up to him, understandably, because of how loaded he is. This is their pressure point. I know that he has to be in some of these fights just to make sure that they have some contention up against the likes of what this 5-man squad brings from SLU. But, man, you put him in a side lane, and who's going to stand against him? There's no one there.
That's what I was saying, man. Throw him there. Hotels with him. You got to send 3 people. You better send the whole freaking team to deal with this chats right now. And maybe that was an eye-opener for the side of Maryville, but right now, SLU, they had their eyes open to a slew of damage for themselves here. Shady trying to jump over the wall, staying safe away from the rest of the team. Dragon is up, and it is the target of admiration for both sides here, as they are both looking to clutch down on it. With Maryville having the inside track on this, one catch could change it all. As you can see, Cozy taking a bit of damage on the side. This could go south really quick.
Yeah, they can post out Dragon now. Shady pulled their attention. He can go over the pit. Now if they step up, he's going to be able to get him.
Bolt on coming through. And yet again, it's Trundle getting taken out the fight immediately. Evan RL doing a beautiful job following up with the rest of the team. Now it's going to be the counter-strike coming through. Chippy's laying in some good groundwork for the team. The Colin comes out, but it's not going to be able to find its market. That's going to be 2 kills in quick succession. Going over to the side of Maryville. And now it is only 2 members left standing. Scatter the Weak connects onto Stromus. He gets pushed back. Pulverized, stunned, shut down is Strompus, and now it is Cozy against the world, looking to see what he can possibly do. The Headstack Ultimatum was thrown out, but does have to retreat. He buys some time for the squad. Zaga has been able to come alive. Hook shot was beautifully delayed, but it's Chippies who is looking to slay as he continues to press forward. A beautiful bit of a turnaround, a great stun, but Chippies returns it in kind as Zaga comes in to try and jump in, join the fray. A Subjugate will be at their dismay. A Requiem comes through, and a beautiful shutdown decimates the HP of Chippies as they are going to force Kind Jungle to retreat, and no Baron for Maryville.
Just the shutdown. Just the shutdown, and whatever ambient gold was held by the likes of, like, Andy Benny right there, after that shutdown to Chippies was enough to buy him a full needlessly large run. The Carthus is scaled. This is not good. This is not good for Maryville.
This is critical.
This is bad situations for them. Okay, they have an insanely powerful MF who still is able to control these zones around Barons that, like, if you walk into a pit, you're in bad places for the side of SLU. But you now have a response with, like, the Twisted Aurora with the likes of the Carthus, because, like, the Carthus AoE with Qs, ultimates, things like that are going to be able to defer you. Side lane, Chippies versus Cozy has gotten a lot more interesting all of a sudden because of that duel that just came out, because we can see that Cozy is able to duel him in a side lane. So we're at this very big standstill of, like, I'm waiting for, like, Maryville to hit some of these big ultimates. They still haven't found an amazing ultimate from Shady yet. The biggest thing, I don't know, I don't remember the last time Kind Jungle clicked his lilting lullaby. I feel like I've been tracking this all game, and it's not as a
It hasn't came. He's used it one time.
I want to point out that, like, Cozy Shroud, he flashed his E, and then he ulted his Q just to not get like, lilting lullaby during the course of that fight. They are dodging out on that ability. They know how powerful it is. One good Lilting Lullaby changes this game, and that's why Kindy's been holding it. But like I said, they need to be able to connect with that and or like Shady ultimate in order to put this game in the back. Because SLU has just been dancing around those ultimates, waiting for Andy to get strong enough to just carry everything.
I mean, he's got the 2 items he needs, right? He's got Leandre's, he's got Void Step. What else do you need as a Karthus? He got the magic pin that is necessary. Now SLU might be looking to take this one to Maryville. The gold lead is still in their favor, but it's only 2K, and it hasn't grown at all ever since the gold lead was amassed by the side of Maryville. So here we go, Shady looking for a catch. Andy flashes forward, that's what you want to see, but the rest of the team immediately backs up. The Wilting Lullaby only hits a Karthus that was doomed to his fate, and Maryville is able to find 1 kill onto Andy Bendy.
He is not the most impactful, but again, with that ultimate not being available, with that kind of AoE damage, maybe it's a look to potentially look for a Baron, and you saw that Maryville was kind of posturing towards that area, but their side lane is not set up for it. Their top lane was pushed in way too far, would have cost them at least a little bit of time, so instead they're going to take this moment and just reset everything. 1:30 until the next dragon likely becomes the next point of contention. SLU, I cannot express to you how badly they would want to deny the dragon long enough to get Rabadons onto this Karthus, who even at 3, 8, and 5, being down 40 CS, would probably still hit like an absolute truck with this. Already hits like an absolute truck. Would fit even harder with the Rabadons. It's so hard that like it wouldn't matter even if he died immediately. If he hits anyone with an ability, they are out of a fight, right? So Maryville taking the cautious approach. They're saying, we're going to set up our lanes. We're going to set up our split push with Chippies. He's got TP to be able to respond. We're going to look for the dragon and the Infernal.
Oh, yet again! Stop bullying Andy!
They're using this range advantage as much as possible. Nice pillar, actually. Baits out Lee Sim's ultimate. This is tough. Lee Sim losing that ultimate is humongous for what will be the dragon fight that comes here in 30 seconds. They're going to pressure for the Baron instead. Chippy's just back. They left a ward in the back pit. They know this is going to happen. Do they contest them? Do they have Misfortune? They've got Misfortune ultimate. They aren't doing anything else. They're going to try to bait a fight here before Chippy shows up.
Oh, this could be it. Just exactly what it needs. Either one of these teams are looking for something to tip the scale in their favor. They are looking for it. They find a beautiful catch. It's onto Strumpus. That is huge. The damage comes through. Lays him out into such a low amount of HP. The Wilting Lullaby into the battle. And T-Sum's going to be able to find the kill onto Shady. Shady gets popped, and that's going to be Andy Benny being able to pick up the kill onto Chippies. They're looking for more. Strumpus finds himself eventually falling down, but it is still the side of SLU looking to slug it out. Kind Jungle is spinning that wand right round, baby, trying to lay out whatever burn damage he could possibly do, but a Scatter the Weak finds its mark, and they get rid of it. They even the odds. 2 members left alive for both sides, but the HP bars in favor of SLU.
Oh my goodness. Can he actually exploit the range here, though? Because there's no summoners right now for Karthus, which means if he messes up the wall, oh, that's really precarious. They're going to look for the 2-on-2. Zaga is here. He needs to find a way to get on top of everybody else. I think they have to just give this, though. Andy is way too strong. Zaga's way too high of health, too. He is playing into a Syndra and a Lilia. Pretty much any damage at all he's going to be able to throw in and pretty much almost one-shot what is get back right here. And so they're playing very cautiously. They got half his health bar back. Here comes TP, though.
Yeah, TP is coming in. You see Bill over here onto the side, drop to half HP here. Strumpus is now in the fray, but it's going to be orbs being thrown at his dismay. He's going to find himself having to jump over the wall, and now the HP has been leashed for the side of Maryville, looking for possibly more. The dragon is at under half HP now, as Zaga's looking to try and get away in, but he's going to find himself getting completely blocked, stuffed, and not able to get into the pit. That is going to be Soul coming through. Soul Flare only connects onto Shady, and now it's Maryville who are looking to be in hot pursuit. The Predator has been popped, and it's the Quickening coming through, laying in the charms onto 2 vital members as they're looking to just rain down pain upon them. Evan RL is going to be able to pop off Kind Jungle on a killing spree. And Maryville, just like that, have found exactly what they need to tip the scales as they follow Andy all the way into his base. Strumpus is looking to hit the Coley, try to lay a little bit of damage, but it's nothing for the dismay of Maryville as they get out with the Baron as their net site. This is critical right now.
This is so bad now. There's so many squishy members. There's not much ability to deny a bunch of the plays from the side of SLU. It is at this point with the Infernal Soul that Maryville have scaled into incredible levels. I will say the one caveat, there's not much defense for them either, which means that if you get Andy Bendy into a good place, especially with 3 items, Void Staff, Rabadon's completed, he is going to hit like a truck no matter who he's hitting. So there is still that caveat. With Infernal Soul, it doesn't necessarily guarantee you, like, completely one fights, because you have to make sure the damage goes down into the proper targets. I think the big ones, again, to focus, Strumpus is huge. Andy Benny's got to die before he can do anything, because that ultimate alone is going to hurt so badly when you get hit by, like, Misfortune, when it's hit by, like, the likes of the Syndra, anything like that. In any of those situations, it's just going to make it so miserable to try to deal with. Thankfully, Guardian Angels is done for the likes of Evan RL, and the Zonies is completed now for the likes of Get Back, and because those two are completed now, the effects of that Karthus ultimate are mitigated, because, you know, you have to work through 2 health bars for Evan, you have to work through, like, the Zonias to not being able to hit him through that, things of that sort. It is at this point where Maryville starts to just completely control the map. There isn't much left in terms of team fighting prowess. They have to just pray that Andy Bendy's able to get into the midst of a team, find a good ultimate, and pop a couple members, hope that Strumpus has got enough.
Strumpus! He does have that shield bow, is enough to keep him alive, but now Maryville have a target. They can see the blood trail, and they're looking to follow it all the way back to SLU's base. SLU is getting slaughtered right now as that's one member taken out. Strumpus nets up the quickening. Strumpus firing away the guns. A thumbs up from Chippies. They're looking to go for more. Still, the pillar doesn't stop him. It doesn't convince him not to do this. The Counter-Strike comes through, not able to jump through, but no stun needed. Has the ultimate CC in the gray screen and looking to apply it to every member of SLU here as they are all being dropped. It's only Andy, it's only Cozy and Maryville looking to bear themselves across the space.
Cozy can back, but I mean, there's 30 seconds on Strumpus Zaga. They've got a 3v5. They've got one member that does really, really high damage, and outside of that, they got to keep him up. Andy has to find a way to have an impact.
There we go. He's looking for a blade, possibly Requiem to come out, but a double kill comes out. Look at that! They all go golden! They all are ready! The counterplay was there, and Maryville, after a hard-fought series, they're the ones to come out on top inside this first match of this rivalry.
Oh, goodness me, man. A triple Zonias to end the game. Karthus bot, like, what in the world are we watching? What an incredible series delivered in spades, 100% across the board here between the likes of these two teams. Like being able to watch a rivalry unfold is fantastic. These two right here at the beginning of the season, they're still figuring things out. They're trying to figure out, you know, what is your optimal lineup? What is it that you're going to play? You know, Maryville comes in with some new players. SLU's still trying to establish themselves. And those were some absolutely incredible games to start off what is an amazing rivalry, not only here inside of the UPL, but also inside of Collegiate and just in a rivalry between St. Louis cities.
I personally love it. I'm ready to see what these teams do in amateur, in collegiate. What they have in store for us is the tools are brilliant, and whenever they are polished and they are ready to be used to their fullest potential, it's going to be a sight to see, and I am personally excited for it. Now, as you said, we don't really have much of a desk here. So we did get to see both of these teams. I do want to ask you, Rebel, we go into this Maryville able to come out on top here. How do you feel about this combination of the roster, man? I'm going to quiz you real quick.
I think it looked really nice. First off, like, Get Back seems to have a really good impact across the map. He seems to always be in the right place pretty much everywhere. Kind definitely had a different look to him than what Odd Orange usually looks like. I think if you're watching this series from top to bottom, I think it was pretty clear that like the two of them clearly look different, and there's different strategies to employ. And I think both of them are good strategies to employ. It depends on the opponent. Evan RL, we didn't get too much of a look at just because he played triple MF games, which was kind of awesome to see that like somebody's busting out the MF once again. And again, it's not really the strategy we'd seen most of the time with Shady, where he's able to just like got to get out of lane, because they played a lot more lane bully like and then allowed Shady to go for it. But I kind of like that new adaptation. The two of them seem to have grown a lot more from what we saw last time when they were at collegiate finals, when they were at kind of the previous C-Wool split. I've liked that adaptation that they've made towards that progress, and I think the new players, or at least the new system they're running where they're trying different players out, is going to be huge, because everybody was looking good today.
Yeah, they have plenty of weapons in the pocket of Maryville. I have to see how the proficiency goes along, and the sky looks like it could possibly be the limit, as we said. They're a collegiate team looking to try to reclaim a throne for themselves as they're going forward with the season. That being said, I want to thank everybody for coming out and hanging out with us today, especially y'all that have been here since the very beginning. I mean, that's right there. Fantastic, especially through tech difficulties, right? Like tech difficulties are hard to get through as a viewer. You know nothing that's happening. So absolutely a big shout out to them, and shout out to our analyst desk again. You brought them up earlier, Rebel, and they honestly were absolute troopers, ready to break down everything on the day. And unfortunately, we didn't get to see their beautiful faces too terribly often. We got to see them for a little bit, but not as much as we would have liked.
Oh, big props to also Night of Knee stepping in at the last second. Our producer, the technical issues was our producer's internet was just out. Like there's nothing that he can do about that. There's no like mechanical fix to it. His internet's just gone. And so Night of Knee coming out with the pinch hitting for us. Really clutched out, being able to show off these two teams that we wanted to in the first place. Show off the rest of an amazing series. Got that awesome game 3.
Yeah, absolutely knocked it out of the park. Shout outs to everybody who was involved in tonight's show. And shout outs to, like I said, yet again, to all the viewers who have been here watching, whether you jumped in from game 1 or you jumped in at the beginning of game 3. We appreciate every single one of you. With that being said, name's Travis T. I've been joined here with Rebel Thoughts. We will catch you guys next week, starting on Thursday, as UPL comes on back, and we will have some fantastic matches for you yet again. So until then, hope you all have yourselves a fantastic evening.